Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello and welcome to That's English.
Hello. Kissing Babies is the title of today's programme. No, it's not about families or mothers and fathers. It's about politics, la política.
In fact, it's about a politician, a government minister, un ministro. The thing he's most interested in, well, watch carefully. What is his main interest? Is it the disabled? Las personas con discapacidad?
Or is it policies to help taxpayers? Medidas de ayuda a los contribuyentes. Or is it something else?
Try to answer that question. What is the politician's main interest?
Do you remember my friend, Claire Dawson?
The civil servant? Yeah.
Well, she's told me that she's resigned.
Why?
She said politics was a difficult business.
Well, everyone knows that.
Claire, we have important work to do this morning.
Yes, Minister. You mean the new policy for people who are disabled?
No. We have to decide which are the best photos of me to give to the press.
Oh. Sir, I have studied the last 5 government white papers on the disabled.
Very good.
But nothing seems to have been done.
Really?
Sir, I've made a few suggestions.
Oh?
In the long term, they will mean savings for the taxpayer.
In the long term.
Sir?
What do you mean, the long term?
I mean, in 10 years' time, the policy will have paid for itself. It will bring jobs. Workers will be more skilled. It will bring new life back to communities.
In 10 years.
What's the matter, Minister?
You don't understand politics, do you, Claire?
What do you mean?
You should know by now that no politician is going to thank you for long-term policies. We do nothing. Absolutely nothing unless it benefits us at the next election.
But, Minister...
Which is only 6 months away.
But...
Claire, have you seen the latest opinion polls?
Yes, Minister.
The opposition have over 50%.
Yes.
When voters were asked if they thought that this government was capable of running the country, only 30% said yes.
Sir, the spokesperson for the disabled wanted to know what we were going to do for them.
Claire, you know I'm interested in hearing your suggestions on departmental policy.
Yes, Minister.
But let's get back to work. Now, what I really want is a picture of me kissing a baby. I've kissed hundreds. There must be a baby in there somewhere.
Oh, there we are, Minister.
But this isn't my good side. It must be my good side.
And he said it had to be his good side. He refused to listen to anything that she said.
Politicians never listen to anybody.
She worked night and day for him, and he never even thanked her for it. Then she told me about the day she had had enough.
I feel very sorry for Claire. She's passionate about politics. She really wants to help people.
But the politician she works for isn't interested. Did you hear the answer to our question? What is the politician's main interest?
Claire, we have important work to do this morning.
Yes, Minister. You mean the new policy for people who are disabled?
No. We have to decide which are the best photos of me to give to the press.
He wants a photo to give to the press.
Now, what I really want is a picture of me kissing a baby.
So he's interested in publicity and in his image, su imagen. Of course he is. Image is important to all politicians. But what about government policy? Well, he's just not interested. Remember what Claire said to the minister?
Sir, the spokesperson for the disabled wanted to know what we were going to do for them.
That's an example of a reported question. The spokesperson asked,
What are you going to do for the disabled?
Claire reported the question like this. Listen again.
The spokesperson for the disabled wanted to know what we were going to do for them.
The spokesperson for the disabled wanted to know what we were going to do for them. Here's another example.
When voters were asked if they thought that this government was capable of running the country, only 30% said yes.
The voters were asked,
Is the government capable of running the country?
the question was reported like this.
The voters were asked if the government was capable of running the country.
I'd like to show you some other simple examples of reported questions. Oh, excuse me.
Tony?
Hello?
Hi, it's Rose.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. I want
Who is it?
Vanessa wants to know who it is.
nosy, isn't she?
What? Oh, yeah.
Well, it's nothing to do with
What did he say?
Vanessa wants to know what you said.
That's outrageous.
It's a she, actually.
Is she always this
What?
nosy?
Yeah, yes, that's right.
I want to
Are you laughing at me?
Vanessa wants to know if we are laughing at her.
why? Is she being funny?
Hello? Tony will ring you later.
Get off.
Goodbye.
I want to talk to Tony.
Tony, please. It's time to go back to the programme. Let's have a look at some useful expressions for talking about politics.
Look at this expression. Long-term policies. Política a largo plazo. Are politicians interested in long-term policies?
You should know by now that no politician is going to thank you for long-term policies. We do nothing, absolutely nothing, unless it benefits us at the next election.
A menos que nos beneficie en las próximas elecciones. Qué actitud más cínica.
Of course, elections are very important to politicians. Let's look at some other vocabulary associated with politics. Listen out for the English expressions for these Spanish words. Sondeos de opinión,
La oposición
votantes,
y gobernar el país.
Claire, have you seen the latest opinion polls?
opinion polls, sondeos de opinión.
Yes, Minister.
The opposition have over 50%.
The opposition. La oposición.
Yes.
When voters were asked if they thought that this government was capable of running the country, only 30% said yes.
Voters, los votantes.
And running the country significa gobernar el país. But now, back to our story. We're going to hear about the day Claire decided she had had enough. El día que Claire decidió que ya no podía aguantar más.
Here's a question first. Listen carefully to Tom and Gino. Who is an idealist? Who is a pragmatist?
Then she told me about the day she had had enough.
What's this?
It's my letter of resignation, Minister.
I can see that. Why? Because I didn't take up your suggestions for government policy?
No.
Then why?
Minister, Before I came to this department, I read all the speeches you made about democracy when you were a young man.
How interesting.
You said the job of the politician is to serve the people and not to serve himself.
Yes, well, a politician also has to look after his own interests.
You said politicians had to have ideals.
Ideals? I'm a pragmatist.
You promised to serve the ordinary person in the street.
Well?
I saw a film of your first election speeches. I believed every word that you said.
Strangely enough, so did I at the time.
I thought you were wonderful.
I was rather good looking in my youth.
When I watched the film, I didn't just love your speeches.
You mean?
I mean, I admired your ideals and your honesty. You really seemed to believe in what you were saying. You really wanted to help people.
Yeah, you're right, I did.
You did, I know. But now you've changed. Why?
I don't know, Claire. I don't know. Perhaps I've been in politics too long. Perhaps I'm tired. Perhaps it's time for me to give it all up.
No, Minister, it isn't time to give up. But perhaps you should think more about what you believed in when you were young, when you started out.
Claire, I'll look again at your suggestions for changes to departmental policy.
I'm glad. But I'm still resigning, I'm afraid. I want to change my career.
I understand. Could you stay for a little longer? Help me work on this policy document.
Anyway, Claire stayed for a while longer, but she did resign. She wants to be a journalist. In fact, she's applied for a job on the Echo. That's good news, isn't it?
That's wonderful.
Well, I hope she doesn't expect us to be idealists.
Perhaps some of us are, Tom.
Gino sounds like an idealist. Tom's a pragmatist.
Now, when you're talking about politicians, it's very useful to be able to report what they say. We're going to think particularly about the things that politicians promise to do, prometen hacer, and refuse to do, se niegan a hacer. Here's an example.
I will serve the ordinary person in the street.
Let's see how Claire reported that promise.
You promised to serve the ordinary person in the street.
You promised to serve the ordinary person in the street.
I won't listen to anything you say.
He refused to listen to anything that she said.
He refused to listen to anything she said.
Let's practice that. Listen to the minister and then report what he says with he promised to or he refused to. I will serve the ordinary person in the street.
He promised to serve the ordinary person in the street.
I won't listen to anything you say.
He refused to listen to anything she said.
I will cut taxes.
He promised to cut taxes.
I won't discuss long-term policies.
He refused to discuss long-term policies.
I'll give you a better job if you stay.
He promised to give her a better job if she stayed.
Well, that's all we have time for today. I hope you'll join us for our next programme.
We'll be talking more about politics. See you then.
Bye.